guys, so from last video, a little bit has changed. I did get the bay fully painted. I tried filming it, but with all the overspray in here, it was just, the footage turned out really crappy, but here it is. So we have it done in a nice satin black from Eurochem. We did go ahead and used a 2K epoxy primer over everything before spraying the base coat. So now the bay is fully sealed, ready for assembly. I did also have a windshield guy come by. We were able to get a fresh piece of glass installed, and he did use some pretty nice universal moldings. The OEM moldings are about $500 from Nissan if you can still get them. That was just the price I found online, but for a universal cheap molding, it looks pretty good. It is aftermarket glass, aftermarket molding. I paid $350 to have it installed, and that was a guy coming to my house to do it. Real old school guy, but did a pretty good job, knew what he was doing. But that brings us on to our next step. I want to start getting this front end back together. So we have the front cross member here. I already brought it down to the self-wash and just gave it a quick power wash to get a bunch of the dirt and grime off of it. I didn't bring you guys with me because currently in the Chicagoland area it is 22 degrees and snowing. So it's easier for me to throw this in the truck, bring it over there really quickly and get it all cleaned up. So I'm going to get the rack off of it and the control arms off of it, and then we can start cutting this thing up to do a rack relocation. Alright, so we got the cross member fully disassembled here. So what we're going to be doing here is you have your rack mounts here. We're going to be moving these physically forward by cutting this section out on the actual cross member itself. So we have it marked where we're going to cut on the bottom, as well as where we are going to cut up top. We're going to go center of these holes, follow this pattern over, and just bring it down through here. We're going to try to leave this little sliver here so we have something to weld the bottom to. Then we'll connect on the other side and clean everything up, weld it, and it'll bring it about an inch and an eighth forward, and that will help with the over centering these cars have at angle. So let's get that all cut up and so we got the majority of the crossmember cleaned up where we will be welding. I have made sure it's all pretty much square where it was, just moved forward. So I'm going to add some tacks along here. This corner, flip it upside down, do a couple more tacks, and then do my final clean and cut. So like areas like this, I'll trim off. Here's like that. I'll trim off so I can get a better weld in there. Same on the bottom, but let's go ahead and get welding this. Alright guys, so here is the finished welded rack. This is the bottom side. And then the top side. So I'm going to quickly put on some self-etching primer and then put a quick coat of black on the areas that are bare metal from cleaning and welding. And then we can get it thrown in the car. I don't know how far I'm going to get with the suspension being put on because I still have to finish painting the wheel wells. I got to finish cleaning up all the old undercoating in there so I can repaint those quickly. But I'm going to get it thrown in because I have to remake these bolts where the crossmember bolts into. One of the washer weld things was broken during removal, so the bolt just spins. So I'm gonna see if I can just tack that back onto the old one or if I have to make a whole new plate for it. But yeah, we'll get this in paint and we'll continue on. Alright guys, so I have the rack all sprayed here, or not the rack, the crossmember. Nice coat of black. Underneath there I have an etch primer and all the raw bare metal. So before I put that in, I have decided I want to really quickly just clean up these wheel wells. So went ahead and sprayed an etch primer on anything I went through to clean up. I'm going to give it a quick wipe down. It's not going to be the correct way, but I'm going to give it a quick wipe down everywhere. And I'm just going to use this roll-on bed liner that I used in my truck. It's a cheap Hercules, got it at Walmart probably like a year ago. Just gonna mix it up and apply it with a brush just to kind of clean up and give a decent seal here. Make it look a little bit better. I'm trying not to go overboard with the car. Trying not to be the person that builds a car and it takes them 3 years to complete and then is afraid to drive the car at drift events because they don't want to destroy it because they put so much time into it. So I think this will be a happy medium to make the wheel wells at least sealed and look good. So I'm going to get started on that while the crossmember here is drying. And then once both sides are complete, we're going to throw the crossmember in, get control arms in, and probably get the tension rod brackets back in because I have a reinforcement kit from GK Tech that I'm going to weld in place to get those all sturdy. And we'll go from there. Alright guys, so we got both of the front wheel tub, wheel arch areas all painted up. This is the passenger side, all fresh and black, done a nice bed liner. And this would be the driver's side, all freshly painted. We'll work on getting the front crossmember and suspension back in the front now. This video seems all over the place. I do apologize. I've been going in and out of the garage, shoveling snow. We got about 7 inches so far outside, so I'm trying to keep on top of that while not killing myself. But yeah, let's get the front crossmember all bolted up. All the paint here is good and dry and ready to go back in. So we'll get this thrown back in. We can then get the lower control arms on and get the new XR1s. At least the front up done. Here's that one bolt too. All I did was put it in, gave it a tack on the top. If it would focus. So that should hold the bolt in there just fine. So let's get that thrown in and we can start bolting up all of our brand new fresh parts. Now that we have both lower control arms installed, I was going to move on to installing our brand new set of Stance XR1 coilovers, as you can see right here. But I do not have the hardware for the top hats, and since it is snowing outside, the nearest hardware store is about a 15-minute drive, but with the snow, I'm not even going to bother. I'm going to wait till tomorrow to get that. So we're going to move on to putting our tension rod brackets back in and welding in our reinforcement plates and bar for that. And tomorrow I'll get nuts for the top hats and install the coilovers and knuckles, and then get closer to having this front end back together. Alright guys, so it is next day. I have the power brace all welded up on top. I'm going to remove it and get the bottom welded, but I was able to run to Ace Hardware. So I do have some nuts for the coilovers, so we're going to get the both front left and right side coilovers on. We'll be able to get the knuckles and brakes back on, and that's probably where I'll end this video off. So let's get cracking and get that stuff on. So during install, I did kind of chip the paint on the shock towers. Not a huge deal. I will probably just go ahead and order the Koru Works top hat like brace plates that go on top, so it'll kind of hide all that. Alright guys, so we have the front parts with the rotor back on. I'm going to wait till the car is back on the ground, or when I have a general idea of ride height, to tighten everything. But it is slowly starting to look like a car again. We have the wheel tubs all freshly painted, cross member back in, coilovers on, power brace for tension rods back in. Slowly but surely it is coming together. So, if you guys liked this video, please drop a like, comment below, and if you could, subscribe to my channel. It would really help me out. Otherwise, I'm going to start working on the next one for you guys, so I'll see you later.